Hey, welcome into Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee. This is a show that highlights Giles, Lawrence, and Maury counties off of the pages of your local newspaper. I'm Scott Stewart. I'm the publisher of the Pulaski Citizen, Main Street Maury, and Lawrence County Advocate. Those are your local newspapers here in Southern Middle Tennessee. I hope this week you take the time to contemplate on what Good Friday and Easter mean to all of us. This Friday is Good Friday. It's the day that we commemorate and remember our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ dying on the cross to pay for our sins. But don't worry. Sunday's coming. The grave did not hold him, and Jesus Christ was raised on the day that we call Easter. So it's his resurrection that we celebrate on Sunday. If you want to know more, reach out to a church, a local church. And by the way, we have all of the churches in our communities in our newspapers. In each of our newspapers, we have a church directory. So reach out to a local church or to someone you know who is a follower of Christ. Praise the Lord, he is risen indeed. Now let's get off to our wraps. We'll start with the Pulaski Citizen wrap this week. The Pulaski Citizen wrap starts this week with our citizen spotlight, Skylar Quinn Porch, whose photo graces that spot of honor right there at the top center of our front page. Also on page 1, the Giles County School System is offering the public to attend school shooter training with also the opportunity to become an instructor. The training is coming in July. You can find out all about it right there at the top of our front page this week. The Giles County Commission meets in regular session at 5 p.m. Monday. Don't forget, 5 p.m. This is the swap from the morning hours to the evening hours after the time changes. So Monday, 9 p.m. is our first 5 p.m. meeting. And if you show up at 9 o'clock, you're going to have a long wait. How about that? So Giles County Emergency Services educated students at Giles County High School on the dangers of distracted driving last week with a mock crash event. And so we've got some pictures and information on that. The Pulaski Board of Mayor and Aldermen has passed the first reading of rate increases for water, sewer, and trash collection services, and the Minor Hill Park Pavilion got a facelift recently. Inside, we had some special visitors in Pulaski last week. The Elkton Fire Department fish fry is scheduled for Saturday. Linville passed a budget for the 24-25 fiscal year just in time to start talking about the 25-26 budget. Giles NAACP's Freedom Fund Banquet is April 26th with guest speaker Diane Steele. The Garden Youth Expo is also on the 26th. The Dantaclear Diaries continue with part 2 this week. The GCHA Pet Corner Pet of the Week this week is Edward, and he really looks like he'd be a great addition to your home. I feel kind of bad for Edward when you see the picture, but somebody go give Edward a forever home. Margaret Campbell continues her National Volunteer Month series, and this week she features an effort that is really near and dear to my heart. Is the community rural food delivery. And if I'm not mistaken, I may not be right, but I think I'm right. This week, Thursday at 5:30 down at the old Sharp building that's owned now by the First United Methodist Church there on 2nd Street, they'll be packing boxes and for distribution. And then Saturday at 9 a.m. out at the Agri Park, they'll be doing the distribution out there. It's drive-through distribution. So if you want to be involved in National Volunteer Month, this is a great opportunity to do so. And if you can't this month, they're doing it every single month. So get in touch with the guys, read the story, get in touch with the guys at Community Rural Food Delivery, and they will tell you anything that you might be able to do to help them out and help during Volunteer Month or beyond. Margaret also shares some Easter carrot cake recipes with us. And as always, the Pulaski Citizen has obituary notices, court docket, property transfers, government public notices, backward glances, fun and games, church directory, as I said, community briefs. We've got weather from our friends over at Tennessee Valley Weather, and we've got church briefs. So we've got all that, and we got some great sports coverage. That's Wade Neely's department. So we're going to kick it on over to Wade and see what we got this week.
What's up, folks? Wade Neely here, sports editor at the Pulaski Citizen. Time now for a look at what's in print and what's online for the April 16th edition of the Pulaski Citizen sports page. If you want complete coverage of Giles County and Richland, this is the week to pick up a copy of the Pulaski Citizen because we have virtually every team covered across Giles County. But we start with the Bobcat soccer team. Giles County, man, you remember those bad storms that we had the last couple of weeks while it was raining, while it was storming? The Giles County soccer team, they went south. They fled down to Foley, Alabama, but for good reason. They took part in the Southern Coast Cup, a multi-team tournament spanning many classifications. And over the course of 36 hours, Giles County went 3-0 in the Southern Coast Cup. They win their respective division. They are the champions. And we have a complete recap of all of the action from down again in Foley, Alabama. Ironically, they took on Columbia Academy, a school just right up the road, in their first match, but their second two matches were against squads from Alabama, and Giles County again goes 3-0. They win the Southern Coast Cup, and that hopefully, if you're a GCHS fan, is going to spur you to some victories in the second half as they now have returned not only to Pulaski, but also to district play. Speaking of district play, how about those Richland Lady Raiders? The softball Raiders are rolling, folks. They picked up 3 more 10A victories last week, vanquishing Cornersville, Santa Fe, and Culleoka. And every game was of a run-shortened variety. Richland brought the bats, but also brought some pitching, and they absolutely walloped those 3 10A squads as they remain unbeaten in league play thus far. Special shout-out to Caroline Cheek, who had a no-hit performance in that 5-inning win, 10-0 versus Culleoka. But the bats, again, 10-0 Culleoka and 16-1 versus Santa Fe. They opened the week with a 19-6 win versus Cornersville. So big week for the Lady Raiders. Make sure you check that out. Richland Soccer, we had a big piece on them last week. We got a little coverage on the Raiders soccer and squad, and for good reason. They continue to roll along as they have now been unbeaten in their last 6 matches. They picked up a couple of dominant victories last week, knocking off Wayne County early in the week and then blanking Loretto 6-0 last Friday. So make sure you check out our coverage of the Raiders soccer programs. Speaking of teams that are rolling, Giles County softball continues to march on. They are taking names, as it were, in district play, and we were on site both broadcasting and reporting from last Thursday's victory versus Lawrence County. Giles County and Lawrence County had already met once this season. GCHS picked up a big victory, a little closer in this one, but it was still a win nonetheless. 4-2 was your final score as GCHS continues to march on in district play. So make sure you check that out. You even get a couple rare photos from yours truly on site in that one. And again, if you missed our broadcast, you can go back and listen to that. Download the Mixlr app, MIXLR, and search PCL GCHS. You can be sure and find that broadcast there. Giles County Baseball dropped their opener to Marshall County, but they won the second matchup in dramatic fashion. 6-5 was your final, and Levi Moss was your MVP in that one, sending GCHS into the win column with a walk-off victory, stroking a 1-out single in the 7th inning there to give the Bobcats a nice win. Had a lead early, lost it, but then got it right at the end. So congrats to Coach Dustin Hill and the Bobcats on getting it done there. Finally, as we come down the stretch here, speaking of baseball, the Richland baseball squad, man, they continue to remain dominant in 10A. They had a doubleheader last Tuesday versus Santa Fe, and they really slugged their way to 2 big wins, knocking off Santa Fe. Run rule shortened game. One contest was 11-1. The other contest also in favor of Richland as the Raiders and the Richland community have reason to cheer for all of their squads as they continue to play at a high level in 10A. So I told you guys, we had a lot to cover and a lot to get into this week. We even had a few stories that we couldn't even put in print this week, but we're stashing those online later in the week, and they will be in print in next week's edition of the Pulaski Citizen. And speaking of online, if you did miss anything in print, that address, PulaskiCitizen.com. We've got you covered. Make sure you check it out. That's all the time we've got. Wade Neely here, sports editor, saying so long. We will see you next time for an update on the Pulaski Citizen sports page.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs? So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
Hello, I'm Andrew Pearson, your Columbia and Maury County reporter, and here are our articles for the eventful last week. The biggest news was the election of a new mayor and mostly new board of aldermen for Spring Hill. Alderman Matt Fitterer was elected mayor in place of Jim Hageman, and his replacement alderman will be nominated sometime soon. Alderman Trent Linville was re-elected and will be nominated to be vice mayor, and the newly elected representatives are Alderwomen Jamie Davis and Aaron Hartwell and Alderman Alex Jimenez. Close in contentiousness behind the BOMA election was Columbia's passage of regulations on short-term rentals. After the city started enforcing its existing zoning laws last August, they finally decided last Thursday that future vacation rentals will be ruled out of large lot subdivisions, but they're allowed with a simple permitting process in the downtown and other urban zones, and the ones that operated outside of there in the last 3 years were grandfathered in for liability reasons at the meeting. There's a lot of public comment, most of it supportive of rentals, but Sue Stevenson claimed that there are almost 800 off-the-books Airbnbs in Columbia, to say nothing of those on another or no platform. The Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance broke ground on its 23rd clinic in Spring Hill last week. The facility will offer not only treatment, but a very large indoor exercise space to promote orthotic health by preventing injury or disease. It should be finished by next spring. And to leave on the front page with a very pleasant note, we interviewed Quentin Jones, the son of Miss Mary Booker Jones, who celebrated her 109th birthday in January. Mary Jones moved to Columbia right after the 1946 race riot, and she not only lived through the last 20 years of segregation, but did her part to integrate the town and its facilities. She was also very involved in Columbia's East Side Black community, especially through the schools and the community club. On our other pages, Light Hill Meats in Spring Hill is featured in an organic beef documentary called Cattle Calling, which you can watch on YouTube. Lillian Flores writes on her experience as a delegate to the state's 4-H conference. Columbia State held a mini rodeo event at which their pre-apprentice linemen showed off their technical training, and 2 students represented Hampshire Unit School well at the state convention of the Future Business Leaders of America. Thank you for listening to this week's Wrap, and we look forward to bringing the news to you next week. And happy Easter.
What's up, folks? Wade Neely here, sports editor at the Pulaski Citizen. But I'm covering Main Street Maury this week as our good friend and sports editor, Mo Patton, he is out this week. So it is my honor and privilege to fill in and bring you guys up to speed on what's in print and what's online in Main Street Maury this week. We have a jam-packed sports section, as you might expect. And we have a little bit of everything. I'm not going to tell you about it all, but just enough to kind of get you primed up to find out what's in print and, again, what's online. We start with high school basketball as the Main Street Maury all-area hoop teams have been announced. We have all of your favorites. What a season for our squads in Maury County as many representatives, whether it's Mr. Basketball finalists, Miss Basketball finalists, teams that made the state tournament, all district honors. There's a bevy of achievements, and they're all kind of compiled into this year's Main Street Maury all-area hoops team. This was a collaborative project, and man, there are so many good players, again, for all of our area squads in Maury County, both on the boys and girls side. I personally am glad I'm not on the search committee because that had to be a very difficult decision putting that together. But make sure you check that out. There's a few familiar names, but there are a couple that might surprise you. So be sure and look for that in the top of your sports section this week. As we move along, defending state champ Columbia Academy, they suffered a little bit of a setback, but you knew you weren't going to keep them down for long. They responded in a big way with a 16-0 win over the University School of Nashville. Mo was on hand to break that game down. We have all the latest on Maury County. And again, coming off of a state championship, had gotten off to such another fantastic start. They had a 28-game win streak if you backdate to last season. That was snapped, but the Bulldogs, again, with a 16-0 win over the University School of Nashville, they're right back to their winning ways. So make sure that you check that out. Other side of town, Independence, they won one, they lost one, but Williamson County girls flag football is off and it is running. And you want to talk about a fun and entertaining product. Williamson County flag football kind of been at the forefront of this sport and emerging sport for such a long time. So it really shouldn't be a shock that they're having great success. But after 4 preseason games, Independence opened splitting a pair of matchups last week with Centennial and Nolensville. Once again, Mo was on hand for that one, so you know he's got a lot of good stuff in there. So make sure you check that out as we talk about Independence and all of Williamson County flag football kind of getting cranked up there. Other thing I want to tell you guys about, if you know the TSSAA, you know you can't mention the TSSAA without also mentioning Maury County, and that proved true yet again as some representatives of Maury County's finest went into the TSSAA Hall of Fame during an induction ceremony held in Murfreesboro early last week. Mount Pleasant native Thomas Ray Frierson, as well as Columbia native Chip Walters, were both represented in that Hall of Fame class. Make sure, trust me, folks, you're going to want to check this out. It was a tremendous achievement for both Chip and Thomas Ray Frierson, 2 legends in their respective areas, and also 2 legends in Maury County. That kind of is a fantastic achievement for both of those guys and well-deserved, not just by them, but all of this year's Hall of Fame class. So I told you guys we had a lot to cover. There's still a lot more in this sports section. But that's kind of just a little bit of a tease there. You're going to have to go and pick up a copy of Main Street Maury to catch the rest, or, as always, you can catch it online, mainstreetmaury.com. It's been my honor to fill in for Mo. He will be back next week with all things Maury County, as this has been an update on what's in print and what's online for this week's edition of Main Street Maury.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
The Lawrence County Advocate Wrap starts this week with one of our favorite signs of spring. That's right, paving. Well, the paving that started in Lawrenceburg last fall has commenced again here in the city. And they got to talk about it at the city council meeting last week. And so the article that's there at the top of the front page this week actually lists some of these streets, at least some of them, if not all of them, that will be undergoing milling and paving over the next few weeks. Some spring cleaning is also going on at the county courthouse right now. And we've got a front page photo and a column about it inside this week by County Executive David Morgan. So make sure you pick up all that. Now, an Amish sawmill was destroyed by fire last week. Sandy Mashburn has that story and a dramatic photo there on page 1. Lawrence County Emergency Services held a mock crash just like they did here in Giles County at Giles County High School. This was for Loretto High School, and it's a very similar thing where they're trying to explain and show these kids exactly the dangers of distracted driving. There will be lots of closings and changes in services on Good Friday coming up this Friday. You can find those on A1. Inside this week, all 3 of our county high schools bands will be coming together for the 34th annual Swing into Spring concert. That's coming up May 3rd. Find all the details inside this week's edition. Also inside, an RV crashes and catches fire. A local pancreatic cancer patient is leading the local charge in the Pan-Can Purple Stride April 26th. Find out all about that. Carrie Staggs brings us that story. Last week we told you in the Pulaski Citizen about the shelter's new building in Pulaski. Well, we're sharing that same story with you guys in Lawrence County this week. So it'll be in the Advocate. You can check that out inside as well. SDRHS has some new providers. Lannyhurst Motors is celebrating 55 years in counting. Carrie Staggs shares the story of reading through play. Rotary has kids' place to visit the club at a recent meeting. Henry tells us all about Pinky, the tune-up guy. It's a pretty good story. And we get a look at going to church in the 1950s out at West Point. Neil Beard reminisces also about Lawrenceburg's days past. So don't miss our annual All Things Spring feature pages also in this week. And as always, Lawrence County Advocate has obituaries, community announcements, government notices, auctions, estate sales, the forecast from our friends at Tennessee Valley Weather, and 2 pages of puzzles and comics and local church directories. So don't miss all that each week in Lawrence County Advocate. Sports starts this week with some of the cutest ball players you're ever going to see out on the diamond. Make sure you don't miss that. And some LCHS track athletes put up some personal best in a recent meet. So find out about that as well. Summertown's Hannah Jones threw a perfect game last week, and 3 Lady Eagles went yard against Mount Pleasant. Loretta Baseball split a series with Lewis County. Summertown Baseball won a pair over Mount Pleasant, and Lawrence County Baseball found a silver lining despite dropping a pair of games to Tullahoma. And Larry Woody talks with us this week about fishing with the gold-minted minnows. Well, that's it for Lawrence County Advocate this week. We'll be right back right after this.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather on Main Street.
Well, good Wednesday. Taylor Platt here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center with a look at your latest forecast. A little bit on the cooler side as we start off your Wednesday morning. Temperatures generally in the 40s out there, but we'll warm up into the 60s to near 70 degrees later on with a lot of sunshine across the area as we move your futurecast forward. Maybe an isolated sprinkle. I think most places end up being dry on your Wednesday evening, but can't completely rule out a small shower chance across central Tennessee. We have better rain chances as we get into your Thursday, potentially across the area. Some of these storms could be in the mix as well. That could have some gusty winds anywhere from about 30 to maybe 35 miles per hour. Temperatures are going to be on the cooler side of things once you get into your Wednesday, though, and Thursday. The majority of places on Thursday will be dry. Again, we're still watching that shower and storm threat across the area, but most places will remain dry on your Thursday. Next best chance of rain and storms comes on Monday.
Hey, that's it for this week's Morning on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee. Make sure to get your copy of your local newspaper online or through traditional newspaper so that you don't miss a minute of all the local coverage that we have for you. For more information on subscribing to any of our newspapers, there's really one place you can go and get it all. That's MainStreetMediaTN.com. MainStreetMediaTN.com. And again, thank you for trusting us as your source for local news, sports, information, and more. And good Lord willing, we're going to be right back here next week on Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.